14th, 2017 work session, Cattle Commission work session to order. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Dominic. Johnson, Jackson, Lynn, Roman, Cawthorn, Gage Watts, Middleton, Atkins, Chavez, Smith, Lewis Johnson.
All right, would you please stand for the invocation by myself and pledge of allegiance by Commissioner Middleton. And before we go into that, I would like to ask us if we would please just observe a moment of silence for the incidents that happened in Charlottesville and just a lot of issues that are taking place throughout our country. And so please join us for a moment of silence. Heavenly Father, we come today saying thank you for the opportunity to gather here. We say thank you for life, for health, and for strength, oh God. God, we ask that you continue to guide us and that you lead us to make the decisions that you would have them to be, oh God. God, we ask that you temper our hearts, temper our minds, temper our spirits to be godly, oh God. God, we ask that you move throughout this nation, move throughout our city and parish, so that individuals who are filled with evil and hatred spirits would be turned from their wicked ways, oh God. God, we're looking to you and we're looking to hear from you. We ask that you continue to put your hands on individuals who are in need of help. God, we ask that in these troubled times that you continue to be the calm, the peace, throughout all of our country, throughout all the world, throughout all the nation, oh God. God, we ask that you bless our city leaders, bless our parish leaders, bless our state leaders, and bless our national leaders, God, that we be tempered in our conversation and be tempered in our convictions and tempered in our debate. We understand that debate is needed, but it should be respectful, oh God. These and many other blessings we ask. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
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 Everyone, please face the flag of the United States. Place your right hand over your heart. Military and veterans, render a brow salute and recite with me the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
One, please.
All right, man.
All right, next agenda additions.
Do we have any agenda additions? I see no agenda additions at this time. Citizens' comments. Citizens who wish to address the commission must fill out a comment card and forward to the president or clerk of the commission. Comments by any citizens will be limited to 3 minutes. I only have one card at this moment. Casey McDaniels, please come forward. And thank you for coming down.
My name is Cassie McDaniel, and I reside at 11236 Ridgehaven Drive in Keithville, Louisiana. And I come here today to again ask that you would consider removal of the Confederate monument from the courthouse grounds. As I have been made aware, the subcommittee, the advisory committee, has given you their recommendation that it stay in place and that other statuary be put around it. And I'm asking you to please think about what has been happening in this country in these last few weeks. I was very privileged to be able to help put together the candlelight vigil that we had at the courthouse last night for the victims in Charlottesville. And in less than 24 hours, over 75 people came, and we were so heartened and gratified to have the President Steve Jackson of this commission there, and also Matthew Lynn, thank you for coming. Tom Arsenault, he was there. Many, many people had come that were devastated by the violence. But we could not help but think that on the other side of that courthouse, because we were on the Milam side, under the tree that men had been lynched on that courthouse grounds, because to that was what was important for us to memorialize, were that more lives have been lost to this type of hatred, this white supremacy, this message of hate, again, and it is still happening in this country, that monument has become a locus, a focal point for men and women in this country who would like to roll time back, that want to continue to preserve white supremacy and want to continue hateful rhetoric. I was approached after the vigil by Louisiana State Police Sergeant Chad Finn. He was in plain clothes. He came up to me and he asked if I was one of the organizers, and I said, yes, sir. And he asked me, how did it go? And I said, it was fine. We were very quiet. We didn't break any laws, I promise. And he's like, no, I'm not worried about that at all. He said, did you have any white supremacists, any of the Louisiana Patriot, any of those people come by? And I said, no, sir, it was very quiet. We tried to be very circumspect. We did not want to cause or attract trouble. He gave me his card with his personal cell phone number on it and told me to call him at any time, day or night, if I received, or anybody that I knew that was involved in these movements received any threats from these people. Now, the fact that we had a candlelight vigil for people who were killed by white supremacy, and the state police officer felt that it was necessary to give me his private telephone number in case I was threatened, says more to me about what that statue actually represents than anything else. I think that history is better served, and what that statue represents is better served in a museum. I know the Norton has already offered to take it. I know that the Norton has already.
Second. Moved by Commissioner Lyndon Johnson, second by Commissioner Lewis Johnson to
Thank you.
extend. Is there any objection to extension of time? I see no objection.
Thank you. The Norton has already offered to take that statue. We don't need anything on a public place that is supposed to offer equal protection under the law to every citizen. We don't need that statue there. We need it where it can be properly understood in context. And I ask you, because this commission is in a particularly powerful place, you have the power to protect the citizens of this parish from men like Ken Calhoun, who is the leader of the Louisiana Patriot Militia and has been marching in front of that statue every weekend with guns and flags, hurling racial epithets at people that walk by, threatening people. He's had people come up from New Orleans. We have documents. The people that I've been working with on this issue, we have documents of these people. We have Facebook screenshots of the threats and the promises that they make of violence. We also have a petition with over 1,000 signatures, and we're gathering more even now that I will submit to this commission from people in this parish who would like to see that monument removed. Please do not think that I am a lone voice. There are many, many, many people in this parish that feel the same way. We don't want to disregard history, but we want history understood in its proper context. And we do not want one person's version of history to silence everyone else. And I'm asking you to please consider this as you have to make that heavy, heavy decision about what to do with that monument. And I am telling you that the stakes have been they've been raised much, much higher. This is no longer some type of intellectual debate about what history really meant, because people have made this a much, much graver decision. And I have to say that compromise equals complicity at this point. Thank you.
Thank you. I have no other comment cards at this time.
Okay.
Mr. Clerk.
We have no visitors. We have no old business. We move to new business. Authorized introduction of SP-10317 appeal case. Site plan appeal regarding SP-10317 appellant, Mr. Kenneth Johnson.
So moved.
Second, moved by Commissioner John Atkins, second by the chair to introduce, move for introduction to Thursdays. Any questions on this one? Please vote. That passes 12-0.
Authorize introduction of ordinance number 5713 of 2017, declaring certain adjudicated properties to be surplus, and authorize the parish administrator or designee to sell the parishes of Caddo's tax interest in certain surplus adjudicated properties.
Move to Thursday.
Second. Let me ask you a question, Mr. Clerk. You have to read all these for introduction?
Well, we've got to read them at least somewhere along the process, yes, sir.
No problem. All right, no questions, please vote. And that was moved by Commissioner Lynn, second by Commissioner Mills.
Authorize introduction of ordinance number 5714 to close and abandon a certain road dedication located in the Section 3, Township 18 North, Range 15 West.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Dominic, second by Commissioner Lynn. Seeing no questions, please vote.
Mr. Lynn,
Mr. Lynn?
Mr. Middleton,
Middleton?
Okay, excuse me.
Mine's frozen,
Well.
mine shows yes.
Oops.
Mr. Bowman,
It's frozen.
Well.
hit it again. There we go.
That passes 12-0.
Authorize resolution number 63, authorizing the request of special exemptions to the requirement of LSA RS 18532.
Moved by Commissioner Dominic, second by Commissioner Lynn. Seeing no questions, please
Can
vote.
in Globo, resolution number 63, 64, 65.
No,
Oh, excuse me. Well, let's go ahead and just Globo instead.
All right, so there's a motion to englobo and advance
63.
63 and 64.
Can also,
You go
can
ahead
I
and do
amend his a little bit?
You wanna do the
And
other one
also in Global authorize Shreveport Green as a visitor and Tim Hardy as a visitor.
that.
Second.
That's, yes.
So moved by Commissioner Dominic to englobo and advance resolutions number 63, resolution number 64, and to authorize Shreveport Green and Tim Hardy. That was second by Commissioner Lyndon Johnson. Please vote on the englobo and advance. So move to Thursday. That passes 12-0.
Authorize approval ITEP flow chart and resolution template.
So moved, but I'd like to comment on it.
Moved by Commissioner Atkins, second by Commissioner Chavez. Go ahead.
You all should have seen this attached to your agenda. This is let me give you a little background. Remember that Governor John Bel Edwards has proposed an executive order that's now passed the legislature, which requires local input to any industrial tax exemption any industrial tax exemptions. So it requires input from the parish, the school board, the sheriff, and the city. And so this process was developed by Erica Bryant and our staff to facilitate the decision-making process through all of those parish bodies. And each parish body will have an opportunity to have their input into what level of tax exemption might be required. The legislation that we're proposing here, the ordinance also requires that attention be given to the number of new direct jobs at the manufacturing facility, the payroll, the term of the exemption contract, the percentage of exemption from parish ad valorem taxes, and the loss of exemption for noncompliance. And so for many people, that loss of exemption for noncompliance is very important. Together, Louisiana and other citizens have expressed concern about tax exemptions, industrial tax exemptions not yielding a return for the parish. This legislation is designed in a way that it's intended to ensure a positive return for the parish on industrial tax exemptions. So I'd like to encourage you all to forward this to Thursday. Well, I guess it's being Is it on Thursday or is it later in, I can't remember if it lays over?
Item, so it's Thursday.
It's this Thursday.
Okay, so, we'll forward to Thursday if you all will.
Commissioner Chavez, you want to speak on the second?
No, no, no.
All right, I have a question here. Well, actually, I'd like to propose an amendment, one to exempt construction jobs from being included in the industrial tax, from being in this particular piece, to exempt construction jobs that are associated with the project. If I can just say.
Second.
All right. That was moved by the chair, second by Commissioner Bowman. And my reason for offering the exemption for the construction jobs is to, basically, those jobs are not permanent jobs, they're temporary jobs. So what we don't want is somebody to come and say, we're creating 100 new jobs or 150 new jobs. And of that 150, half is construction and half is permanent jobs. So we want to have a real number there. So that's my reason for proposing.
It's already in there.
Okay.
That's my reason for proposing that. Chairman, did you want to speak on it?
No.
I see Commissioner Lyndon Johnson on the board.
Yeah, I think looking at the application, it has a column for like construction jobs. And so if we keep this, application saying that, well, keep the flow chart saying that it has to create permanent jobs, then that would do away with the need to do that.
That's already
Because the
included.
application says permanent or construction. And so they listed under construction, so you know that it's a temporary job, but it would have to be a permanent job in order for it to be, considered. And that's on the application as it stands right now.
So is there an application attached?
There's an application that the companies have to fill out in order to be awarded or be considered for the tax exemption. So when you look at the application, you see that it says about construction jobs and permanent jobs.
So are construction jobs already,
Yes.
excluded from the?
Well, it's in another column, so we know.
Construction jobs is not excluded, but it is not the primary purpose of the program. It's permanent jobs. Sitting on the state board, we get the construction jobs too, we know that's temporary. The focus is permanent jobs, so really, if you list construction jobs, that don't mean anything to us on the board, actual board. We look at the amount of permanent jobs created.
Well, I guess my question is, what if the parish sent a resolution in, factoring in, a parish sent in a resolution and factoring in construction jobs and saying, well, we don't care, we want the construction job.
Part of the application.
How does that way, does the
We
board
wouldn't
supersede?
approve it at the state level, unless it's permanent jobs.
Okay. Commissioner Owens,
I was thinking also that there were certain parameters for those jobs, and it would identify how long they would have to be in place, they'd have to be permanent, and those type of things would be outlined as well. So if it was all inclusive, whether it was construction or otherwise, it would still have to meet those parameters. So temporary jobs would not apply. As I appreciate it.
So-
So I wanted some clarity on that as well.
So let me get another clarify. You're saying that the only way, we're on the record here, the only way that an ITAP application would be approved is it automatically already excludes construction jobs.
Yes, sir. It used to be a factor in how many construction jobs that was created. Ultimately, those jobs go away.
Okay.
We were concerned about permanent jobs, and we vote on permanent jobs at the state level.
I got you. Well, I will withdraw my motion. At this time. If you withdraw your second.
Yes, sir.
All right, please vote on the motion bill. Advance. All right, that passes 12-0.
Next, we move to reports, administrative report.
Mr. Administrator.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Just want to remind you all that this coming Friday morning at 9 a.m. in the chamber here, we'll have in our call meeting, and the engineering firm will be giving us an update on I-49.
Okay.
So it's very contentious. Y'all want to, if you can, be here and receive the information from the engineering firm. and they're gonna settle the issue on the preferred route. So we'll get that this Friday morning at 9 o'clock in this chamber.
So they are gonna name a route,
Yes, sir, we expect them to name a route this coming Friday.
and you predict it'll be contentious?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Right, you know.
Put it mildly.
There's a group that wanna loop it, there's a group that wanna go to the rack, so depends on what side of the aisle you're on.
What's contentious about that?
Depends on whether your route gets chosen or not.
You trying to be
The routes
contentious.
don't meet up.
I don't know if you got
It
a
shouldn't,
ball.
it shouldn't be contentious because, you know, it's most economic, most feasible direct path. That's what's probably gonna be considered, and just by me saying that, it's contentious in itself, because it's not an alternative route. So Friday the outcome will be determined Friday.
So could we possibly predict the outcome that you think is gonna happen on that statement?
No, sir, I
That wouldn't
wanna
be
do
safe.
I'm just asking. Is that it?
Yes, sir.
Is that it? Okay. All right. Next. That's it.
Okay. Next, we move to communications committee reports. Want to point out the letter attached from the Shreveport-Bossier Sports Commission.
Thank you. Anybody else on the board?
Where's the sport, the letter?
Yes, a letter that's attached to it. Is there anybody? I see Commissioner Atkins on the board.
Thank you, sir. As we were working our way through item A-1, authorized introduction of SP 103-17, the appeals case regarding the MPC, I was working through an issue with Commissioner Bowman and didn't have a chance to comment, but I will just say here, thank you all for forwarding it. We're trying to work out a solution between the developer and a neighbor, and we're hopeful that a private sector agreement can be made, and that this won't have to go all the way through the appeals process. So we'll see how that plays out. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Mr. Vice President. Make sure we're projected too.
Oh, just wanted to say, everybody got their year in review. It's in your box, so don't forget about that. And also, if I'm correct, we have a juvenile committee meeting this Thursday. Is that right, Todd?
Yes, sir.
At 12 o'clock noon.
Yes,
For
sir.
everybody that's on the Juvenile Justice Committee or any other commissioners who wish to attend, it will be at the Juvenile Justice Complex. We met there about a year ago, so hopefully everybody remembers that. So I want to make sure y'all remember.
Commissioner Lynn.
Mr. Hopkins, I'm guessing that because John Escadade served on the Sports Commission as a commissioner, so if one of my fellow commissioners wanted to serve, that's completely allowable.
I believe that's the case, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
If you would like, I'll check.
Would you
I
double
will.
check? Thank you. That's it.
All right. Commissioner, is that it?
Oh, I guess I'm supposed to do it.
Is that it, Commissioner?
That's it, yes, thank you.
Commissioner
Press the
Chavez.
button.
No, I agree. Donna, is that, could one of the commissioners serve on that?
I don't think there's prohibition against that.
Okay. And then Dr. Weston, I was gonna ask about this letter, not to communicate. Is this telling us that one more absence and then he's off of it, or is that pretty much? Okay. So should the body be looking for somebody to represent us there?
I would suggest there's.
Okay. All right.
Oh,
Thank you, Dr.
okay.
Wilson. That's all, President.
Well, and to add to that, even if he had, he is at will to the commission, correct? Or any appointee, I don't want to make it about this person, but any appointee serves at the pleasure of the commission. So I just wanted to just FYI that. Commissioner, is that it?
That's it, President.
Commissioner Lyndon Johnson.
Yeah, I was gonna go back to the letter as well, and basically, he's on the advisory board, which they don't have a vote, which is advisors. And so the commission, when we did this, said that a commissioner would serve in that capacity. And we just have let John Escadade serve a couple more years.
And he was out of office, right?
So, if you need a commissioner, I will volunteer to serve on that as an advisory committee.
Sound like you said.
Right. Is that it?
That's it.
All right. Commissioner Bowman.
No, sir, that's okay. Commissioner Chavez already entertained.
Commissioner Lewis.
Yes, I'd like my fellow commissioners to know that I'll be bringing a resolution before the body on behalf of Dr. Darrell Tupperville. He served with the Shreveport Fire Department as a chaplain, with the Sheriff's Department as well, been very active and very instrumental throughout our community. And his recent passing on yesterday, and so I wanted to recognize him, and just want to give our body a heads up that will be forthcoming.
Thank you. Thank you. And if you could, Commissioner Johnson, if you could get with Todd about the funeral arrangements, to get that out to everybody as well.
Yes, sir.
About the funeral arrangements. Is that it for you? Is that it?
That's it. Thank you very much.
All right. And I have a quick question on the letter. Is there a term that this person serves, the advisor? Is there a set term, or is it just?
Yes, sir.
Is it 4, 2 years, something like that?
I believe it's a 2-year term.
Okay. All right. And I guess I'm next. Commissioner Chapman?
Thank you. This is for the communique. I want to reach out to Southern Hills and ask you guys to say prayers for Mr. Thompson, Dee's husband. He's at LSU right now. He was hit by a car on Clydeback riding his bicycle. He's in intensive care, and he did everything right. He was riding with the right way of traffic. He had all his reflective gear on, but he's badly injured right now and needs all the prayers that he can get. So if you guys have some time today, please pray for him. He's at LSU right now. A little better, but he's still in the woods. He's in the woods bad. Thanks, guys. That's all, President.
All right. Commissioner Milton.
Yeah, if folks want to make that plan for Darrell's funeral, it is 10 o'clock Wednesday at the community church, at Shreveport Community Church at 5720 Buncombe Road. That's 10 o'clock this Wednesday.
If you don't mind, if you could get that an email out to us. So
I just so everybody kind of has an idea on it now.
Thank you. All right.
That's all.
No problem. Next, the comments and citizen comments about the courthouse deal. Do we keep video? Who's in charge of the video or surveillance over there?
We are.
Okay.
The facilities and maintenance keep on our cards and all the videos that we have during this meeting.
So somebody's over there offending folks on the weekend. Are we able to see that and
I think
report it?
we go back 30 days, I believe, and where we can review.
But there is the ability to go back
Yes,
and see.
Up to 30 days.
Up to 30 days
Yes,
to
sir.
see it. Okay. All right. Just wanted to, and I don't know how we would do that, but and I did, and I don't know if the letter got out to everybody. I somehow got a copy of the letter that the sheriff sent to SPD about who's responsible for enforcing on the outside, who's responsible for enforcing on the inside. And we'll have a long-range planning committee at some point to discuss the issues over at the courthouse. But I would just hope that if Commissioner Cawthorn slaps me,
We don't have to wait on
a
somebody.
deputy is not standing there. And I'm just putting that out there for an FYI, and maybe we need to have a conversation about it. I am sensitive to some of the security measures that we do need to take over there. I am sensitive to that as some of these incidents around the country continue to happen. And so we'll look forward to having a conversation about those things at the appropriate time. I don't necessarily know that anybody's asking for anything specific to be put up over there, but I have talked to the captain who's in charge of the courthouse, and he's, suggesting either or. He has a list of recommendations that he would like to discuss with us. And so I don't necessarily know that he's saying do this or else. There's sort of a list of recommendations that he has. So whenever we get that meeting scheduled, we definitely want to include him in that conversation.
In that fence.
Mark, if you could come up, please. I do want to make an announcement that the MPC, meaning the City of Shreveport, the Caddo Parish Commission, and the MPC representatives will hold a joint meeting on this Friday at 2 o'clock in the MPC conference room. So please, Todd will send out a calendar invite to everybody. I'm sure everybody's aware of the issues and the conversation that's taking place in the news media about that. And I'm asking Mark to come up because I have some questions for him. Mark, and just shoot to me straight. I understand that there are some instances where a certificate of occupancy, Do you have to sign off on those?
No, Alan Clark signs off on those.
Okay. But do you have any say in how Alan signs off on those?
If someone informs me that there's a problem, then I can ask for Alan to bring that information to me so I can verify if there is a problem.
Okay. What about the site plan approval? What documents do you sign off on for business?
I do sign off on the site plan approvals, and those usually come to us on a regular basis. We have every 2 weeks, we have the department heads and the various members of the different organizations like Highway Department. They'll come together and we'll review the site plans, and they make their comments and give the information. Then that ends up on my desk after the revisions have been made by the applicant. And once they've met all those requirements, then I sign off on the site plans.
I have been told that there are instances where either a site plan or a certificate of occupancy was not signed off by the MPC or zoning. It was just done somewhere else.
I think there's been examples where we've been not included in the process, and where they purposely went around us. And in those
Is that
situations,
recent?
not on certificates of occupancy, you can't get a certificate of occupancy unless you come through us.
Okay.
There have been some examples where site plans have not been approved by the MPC that were allowed to go through permitting.
Is that legal? If
I
everybody else
don't,
has to?
I believe by state law it's not, but that's not something that I'm in a position to be able to change at this stage of the game.
So you're saying that other companies have had to go through the site plan process?
Yes, everyone that comes, that's within the city limits or within 5 miles of the city limits in the parish, if they have a site plan, they have to come through the MPC for review and approval. And if you remember before, it used to take 60 to 90 days because you had to go before the board for approval for site plans. A year ago, this month, we changed that. And now it only takes, on average, about 30 days or less, and it's all done administratively, in-house.
So if you don't sign off on site plan approval, then is there any general law that says anybody else can sign off on it, or is there any ordinances that says anybody, or state law that says?
And you would have to talk to the parish attorney as well as the city attorney to verify that. But the reality is that since the MPC was designated as the planning agency for this area, all site plans and zoning cases and preliminary and final plats and certificates of occupancy are supposed to come through the MPC. Either for approval or recommendation for approval or denial. And in the case of site plans, that would be review and approval through my organization.
Okay. And that has happened recently, is what you're saying?
I'm sure it has happened, but
in the
it's
last year or two.
In the last year, yes, sir, it has. I'm sure it has.
Okay. The other issue is, Ms. Bryant, there's this conversation about the fees that we collect for the MPC. I was told that those fees are remitted back to the MPC. Is there?
The fees actually come from us back to y'all. We don't keep any of your fees. When an application occurs in the parish, and this has been true for many, many years, we give you your money back. And that comes to around roughly $30,000 a year that goes back to the parish. And that setup has been, like I said, that arrangement was established many, many years ago. I don't know who actually set it up, but that's what I inherited when I came in the door 3 years ago.
Okay. Well, now the credit.
We did make an adjustment for the amount that we provide to the MPC. We made an adjustment for the amount that we provide to the MPC in the average amount that we receive for the fees.
Okay.
We don't give them the fees back directly. I mean, we don't allow them to keep the fees, they pay them to us, and for their budget appropriation, we increase their budget appropriation by the amount of fees.
Right. Okay. So do y'all feel that's an equitable solution to just, instead of reimbursing them those fees, just put it in their budget? Because I keep hearing that, well, we keep the fees. the commission keeps the fees, because I believe it's in the commission budget, as you pointed
We
out.
can do a budget where we show that they are getting a credit in their appropriation, show is the amount of the fees. But for how we design our budget, it's more advantageous for us to receive it and then give them an adjustment when we pay them, to show that we are getting this much back and this is what we're providing.
And that's when we approve that when we approve our general
Yes.
operating budget for the year, correct?
Yes. This is a small amount, it's not.
Right, it's like, I wanna say $40,000.
Yeah, last time it was closer to 30.
Right. I know there was some conversations about we retain the fees, and then somebody, I know we had a conversation last year saying we don't, but it had kind of surfaced back up, so I wanted to make sure that, Mark, if you can get with Ms. Bryant to see
Sure.
in your budget to show what that adjustment is, 'cause I think a couple of years back, I think they were only getting maybe 150 or something, now they're getting right at 200,000 maybe.
We adjusted, over the last few years, we adjusted it upwards.
Okay, to reflect those fees, and that's what the
Well,
increase
actually,
is.
it reflect the operating expense increase.
Because
It's marked access with additional funds,
But it doesn't reflect the fees, is what you're saying.
And the general reason we did it the way we're doing it is because the fees are being collected in one department.
Right.
And we're paying the MPC out of another department. So the two aren't, that's why we wanted to keep the fees where we're collecting them and make
I
the
don't want to
payment.
confuse myself.
Right, so
I'm
anyway,
confusing myself because I heard Dr. Wilson say that the increase is because of the request
we just,
for operating expense, but I think I'm hearing you
they
saying
made a
the
request to
increase-
keep the fees also. They
I
made a
got you. So
request. Yes.
the increase is the fees
Yes.
that was requested because of the operating expense. Is that what? Okay.
So the amount we got this year, or getting this year and last year is $217,580, and before that, it was about $28,000 less than that. So every once in a while, y'all will increase your subsidy, depending on the circumstances.
But that is the fees, that's what we're trying to, that's the fees.
And what
coming
she's
back
saying
to
is
you.
coming out of two different pots,
Right.
but we still give you your fees back, but what she was saying is basically they last year tried to compensate for that by bringing us additional money into the subsidy.
Right. Okay. Sure. All right. Appreciate you, Mark.
Yes.
And if you could have Alan check on that truck out there by the billboard as well.
Yes. That's
Still out there?
Yeah, it's still there.
Come on,
I
y'all.
don't know what's going on. I saw a house in Stony Hill. I'll get you the
Right.
address that had a similar sign. Similar
Oh,
sign.
I'll have him follow up on
Okay.
that.
Attorney Frazier or Henry, could y'all speak to the issue about the overriding the MPC, not somebody else's signing off on site plan approvals? Is that legal? Is there any general law? Is there any other state statutes that allow somebody else other than the MPC director? Because if my business has to go through the due diligence of going through the MPC director and these other businesses don't have to go through it, how is that allowed to kind of go?
Commissioner, I don't think we've researched that particular issue.
Okay.
So I would like some time
Okay.
to take a look at it. I don't think, that those incidents happen in the parish. And so there may be something that, even after research, that I may not know about that's going on in other places.
Right. Well, but you guys can still look at the law
Yes.
and advise on the law, and hopefully, I'm gonna lean on the parish legal office by Friday meeting, because we have no discretion or relationship with the city's attorney's office. But so I do know that Henry had forwarded some stuff out to me on Friday in preparation for this Friday's meeting. So hopefully we can all get around the table, and then we'll also have that conversation about the cost reimbursement for codifying the UBC as well. So.
Sounds good.
And Mark, if you could, those instances where you did not sign off on the site plan approval, do you feel comfortable
I can
sharing
share that with Donna and with Henry, and very easily, and they can certainly look into it from
Okay.
that
Do you mind
perspective.
copying me on that?
Certainly, we certainly can do
Okay.
that.
And if
sir.
you're out, do you have somebody designated, if you're sick or ill, do you have somebody designated to sign off on?
Absolutely. My backup is my deputy director, Stephen Jean.
Okay.
Because if I'm out of pocket, then I delegate the authority for him to sign off on stuff. We try not to delay anything. I typically, I said this to the city council last week, every Thursday or Friday, I sit down and look at all the site plans for that particular week so I can review or make comments or approvals for those site plans so that they can go get forward and get their permit. We've actually already approved over 45 site plans since this time last year, and I always like to tell people, in the year that we started the new procedure, we have not once denied a site plan. I've never had to deny a site plan, so that's a very good indication that the process is really working, and very effectively too.
And how often do you have a certain designated day of the week that y'all deal with this particular issue, or?
We, the committee that's designed to review all the issues meets every 2 weeks. That's part of the pre-application process. And then I receive site plans on a weekly basis based on that process that's preceded it and gone through because you got to understand that anytime a site plan, it's not just me signing the document. It's making certain the city engineering department, the public works department, Jim Oliak with the highway department. It's also dealing with water and sewer. It's dealing with all the fire service, whatever. All of those folks have a say in that review, and they tell us if everything's according to the ordinance. And by the time it gets to my desk, all those issues are supposed to have been resolved so that I can sign the document. I'm kind of the last man standing. So that's why a lot of times we'll get blamed for something that is not something we did. Because I'm held up somewhere else.
Right.
So, yeah.
So you have every 2 weeks meeting.
Right.
You have
a pre-application meeting where the folks get together and give advice and direction to potential applicants who just want to make certain their projects will be feasible and workable. And then we have a regular review process with the various department heads to allow them a chance to review site plans and plats, so that all the time we have this constant flow of information coming back to our office to a designated planner who makes sure he goes to that process, gets it to me in my box for my review and for my approval. It's like an assembly line, but it's an assembly line making certain that all the pieces are together, so that at the end of the day, it's a legal, workable plan and something that the developer can make a profit off of, because basically we're there to help their business be sustainable as well.
But it's still quicker than the 2-month period.
Oh, well, yeah,
Work.
before it would take 60 to 90 days,
Right.
and sometimes you'd have some department heads that never saw something, and now we don't let that happen
Right,
anymore.
because before it went to your board to sign off.
Right, and so my board doesn't have to deal with that at all. It's totally in-house.
So you looking give or take the end 30 days
Yeah,
now to
yeah,
get
typically
something.
it's about 30 days
If
or less.
all things are
Right.
in order.
Now, there's occasions when where the applicant slows everything down because they've hit a roadblock somewhere, and then we have to wait on them to come back to us. And we had a project like that not too long ago where someone had to just slow everything down because they were having to get approvals from another agency, and it was several months later before we got that information. But that was their discretion to slow it down, in other words. So that's usually what happens, is if there is a slowdown, it's because of that.
Oh, well, thank you, Mark.
You're welcome.
I'm going to look forward to the conversation on Friday. I hope
Yes, sir.
you can make it. Hope
Yes,
some
I'll
of
be
the board
there.
members can make it, and the MPC attorney can make it
Sure.
as well. If you're not familiar with the conversations that's been going on in the news, I won't put that issue out here to debate or have conversation today. I will just say I have been disappointed with the way in which this body found out about it. I do believe Dr. Wilson called me and said that the CAO had come up and kind of told him about it. And that was about it. That was about all the information we got. So, there are processes where we're not following what the law says. We need to kind of look into that. Are there efficiencies that need to be addressed? Do we need to discuss that with your board? I believe you are back open during lunch now. Is
Yes,
that
we are.
Issue resolved?
As of today.
Okay, so you're open for noon during lunch. Well, Mark,
You heard like Mr. Settle lunch?
Oh, I appreciate all the support from Mr. Settle.
But please come on Friday. There's some information that was sent out. There's information that was sent out. We can't tell you how to run your office. Hopefully you're running it as efficiently as possible. I work in a clinic, and our clinics close for lunch because the nurses and the doctors need a break, but we still have receptionists up front to take walk-ins that are available, but they do understand that the physician and the nurse is out. So, but if there are efficiencies that we need to identify, we can work through those. But my issue is making sure that we follow the law. And so I'll be asking Attorney Frazier and Henry, Attorney Bernstein, to work with us and just give us factual information is what we would. That's what we're asking for, is the factual information and guidance. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it. Commissioner Gayswell.
Thank you, sir. You reminded me when you said that still haven't done something. Who's responsible for cutting the grass on 220, 31, 32?
State.
Are they on strike? The grass, you can't see to the other side of the interstate.
We only cut some roads maybe 2 or 3 times a year.
I've never seen it this high.
Is that not the, I think some of those, they have a contract. Are they contracted with somebody to cut? Or they contract with the city to cut?
They're not getting their money's worth. But it's still state responsibility.
Could y'all research that?
Yes, that's my, thank you. Would you please?
Yes, state.
Well, it's a state highway, but some
you
of
need me
them.
to email you and find out what's going on, or if they're on strike, if there's something that we can do to help them make us look like Caddo Parish.
Too far north.
Yes.
Yes, okay, just, and it needs cutting, so if they have something going on, I would like to make a request that we can take care of it. Thank you.
Well, I have noticed the lights have gotten better since
Yeah.
the rail guards out. And I forgot to mention, and I know we'll mention it again on Thursday, but Expungement Summit, August 25th. Please share that information for those. I think we're streaming live via Facebook as well, so please share that information, come out and get the information that you need. Is there anything else?
Well, I have no other citizen comment, late arrivals, so.
Go ahead.
We have consent agenda. Let me just point out on consent agenda again, these public hearings and passage were not until the 7th of September. So
And I think that site plan approval is.
that will be the September too. That will fall in the same time.
Is it the 7th that site plan will be, or is it this, is it?
It's the 7th.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Commissioner Johnson moves to adjourn. Second by Commissioner Stone against Watt. No objection. Meeting is adjourned. We do have property standards. Hello.
Just finish the minute.
Well, this ought to be easy today. This ought to be right on out here today. All right.